On today's episode, we don't have a fighter preview. We don't have a fight preview. We have a special edition with Kyle Dake, who is representing Athletes for Medical Freedom. Kyle, I know we've been working with you on some shirts, some hats, some different things that we're sending out to people all over the world. Wanted to get in touch with you today and just ask you about Athletes for Medical Freedom, what it is, when it started. So, feel free to jump in and let me know what this platform is.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, John. So after the Olympic Games, there was like a little bit of a lull. We had a lot of different things that we had to do for the games in Tokyo, and there was just a lot of restriction, and we were only allowed outside for an hour every morning, and then we had to be inside all day, and it was just a lot of moving parts. But a lot of us thought, well, at least we're having the Olympic Games. We've all been training our entire lives to get here. And this is something that we need to make sure we see through. Mm-hmm. And everyone had to do the same things. We were all in it together. And when we got home, we had kind of a letdown. I mean, that's just typical with the Olympic Games. You're at your peak, and then once you get home, you just take some time to unwind and relax. But for wrestling in particular, we had the World Championships coming up. It was 7 weeks after the Olympic Games, and those were in Oslo, Norway. So I took a week off, and then the next week was pretty light, and then we got back into training. So I ended up working pretty hard, obviously, to get back on top. I felt like there were some things that I didn't do leading into the Olympic Games that I wanted to correct. And, fortunately I was able to. And we had a camp in New York City or New Jersey before we left for Oslo. And we got an email from the USOPC, which is the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. And they told us that there was going to be a vaccine mandate. And this was in place starting December 31st. And if you had any concerns or questions, you could join a Zoom call. And that was it. Hold on. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So I pretty much during the time I was like, what is going on here? I have a medical condition, so I have a heart issue that makes it so I probably shouldn't get this shot just for my age group. The fact that I've already had it. The fact that I'm young and healthy, just a lot of confounding factors that need to be considered. And I just made that decision with my team and my team of doctors, myself, my wife. We came to that conclusion. And that next meeting, we were just like told this is what's going to happen. And a bunch of people asked questions. Questions never really got answered. But this was 7 days before I was supposed to wrestle. And I was like, I can't be thinking about this. I need to focus on wrestling. I need to try to go win a world championship. So that's kind of when it started. And since then, we've been, really battling to try to take that away. The Winter Games are currently going on. And if you wanted to go to China, you had to be vaccinated. No religious exemptions were allowed. And if you had a medical exemption, then their doctors, their committee, whatever it was, which was pretty unclear, that they would decide whether you were allowed to compete or not and use your medical exemption. So I just felt like there was a lot of room for corruption to happen there. So ever since then, I've been advocating on behalf of other athletes from all age groups. I have parents with young kids who are like, messaging me pretty much every day saying, hey, thank you so much for doing this. Like, I stand behind you. What can I do? To high school athletes, to NCAA athletes, other senior level athletes across sports. I don't even know how many sports we have now that have joined the fight. And, I don't even like to think of it as a fight. I just feel like this is something that as a human being, we should have a choice to do this. And, everyone says, well, it's for the greater good. And it doesn't reduce your viral load. It doesn't stop you from contracting it. It doesn't prevent you from giving it to anybody else. It's a personal thing. It's more, seems to me more like a therapeutic. It reduces your symptoms. And everyone's like, well, it'll keep you out of the hospital and it'll keep the hospitals from getting overrun. And I was like, okay, well, so does not being overweight or obese. So does taking care of yourself and mitigating stress. So does, not drinking alcohol or doing drugs. Those are all things that I hear crickets from. And, our leading health agencies are not saying any of those things. And I wanted to be a place where other athletes could come. And it wasn't just me. There was a handful of us: David Taylor, Thomas Gilman, Nashawn Garrett, Tamir Mensah-Stock, among many, many others, who wanted to build this thing so that people could find others that think like them, find other athletes who are like, okay, well, I'm not alone on this battle. Because that's what I was finding. Even in the wrestling community, there was a lot of people who felt like they were alone. And, our goal is just to be there for them and be like, hey, this is what we've had success with. This is where we, are struggling. If you want to help, great. Thank you so much. We have a lot of different things, a lot of different moving parts, and, whatever your skill set is, great. We appreciate it. But, that's really the origin story and where we're at now. What we're doing now is, again, just advocating, going on podcasts like this, basically getting our names out there on social media. We've put together a medical panel, and we're going to present the medical panel to the Athlete Advisory Council within the USOPC. And then the Athlete Advisory Council will take it up to the USOPC Board of Directors and the Executive Committee, basically to show their support for not mandating something like this. And that's really our goal right now, is to do that and create the framework to where other organizations, whether that be NHL, MLB, NBA, whatever it is, where people can come and say, hey, you guys had success. What did you do? And we can say, this is what we did, and come together that way. But the really cool part is that there's a lot of other people that are doing this similar things as what we're doing. They're doing it at different angles, but we're starting to come together and find each other and really be able to become more synergistic and work together. I feel like there's a lot of people are indifferent on the whole thing. And by us telling stories, like, for example, my story of, I have a medical condition, they might not let me compete. Well, that's not right. That's not fair. And, if you're able to go compete, then you should have that opportunity. And, I don't want a special treatment, special exemptions, even though that's what the best athletes in the world get all the time. I want it for these high school kids. In New York, high school wrestlers have to wear masks when they compete. I'm like, what? They fall down, they get soaking wet. What's the purpose of this? And it's just really, really sad to see. And I'm just doing my best. And I appreciate your time and your efforts to help us. We got some pretty cool gear provided by you. You're doing a great job. Our website, athletesformedicalfreedom.org. You can follow us on Instagram on athletes4, the number 4, MedFreedom. And then on Twitter is ATHAth for the number MedFreedom. So Ath for MedFreedom. We're just trying to get the word out there and advocate. And, one of the things that we struggle with is everyone just immediately dismisses us as an anti-vax group. And it's like, no, we're an anti-mandate group. We do not want to be mandated to do anything. I don't want to be mandated to wear a certain type of shoe. I don't want to be mandated to hold a certain body mass index. I don't want to be mandated to eat a certain food and eat a certain way. I don't want to be someone to tell me, well, you got to be vegan and that's the way you go. Well, that's not for me. That's not my plan. I want to have that choice, and I want to have a choice in how I live my life. And what I constantly get is, well, you can make that choice, but you got to live with the consequences. Well, that's why I'm advocating. I'm out here advocating to change those things, and that's what people do. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what healthy society does. So, that's all I got on my end. Thanks for letting me ramble for 10 minutes or so, but I appreciate the time.
Oh yeah, no problem. The only you answered pretty much all of my questions throughout that. The only one I have outstanding is, this started as something that you're doing just, here in the US and with the US athletes, but I've noticed with orders coming in that there's orders coming from Germany and there's orders coming from all over the world, really. Is this something that you're getting a lot of feedback also from international, either people you've competed against or coaches, or, people that follow you on social? Like your reach is pretty large. And I've noticed that there's a lot of international interest in this as well.
Yeah, it's just there's a lot of fans that I've accumulated over the years. They like how I compete. They like how I wrestle. They follow me, support me on Instagram and Twitter and social media, and I feel like their goal is just to help us. And we've had people reach out literally from across the world. How can we help? This is my problem. Have you had any success dealing with something like this? And most of the time it's like, I don't know what's exactly going on. Fill me in a little bit, and I'll do the best I can, and we'll put our team on it and see what we can do. And most of the time, it's we're just here for support, and we try to advocate. And we have some connections just within the wrestling community, and we're trying to lean on them, and hopefully, in the future they can lean on us too.
Awesome. And if people do want to reach out, they want to help, should they come to you directly? Should they go to the website, Instagram, Twitter? What's the best avenue?
I would say the website and email us is probably the best thing to do. You could also direct message us on Instagram. You can tweet at us. Twitter is probably our smaller platform. Instagram, we're a lot more active on, but athletesformedicalfreedom.org is our website. And again, if you want to support us, if you want to get a t-shirt, we have some pretty cool designs. We'll be coming out with some more stuff here soon. We got a cool trucker hat. Mine's not in yet. I got my USA hat on, but hopefully in the next week or so, we'll have all my gear in. So yeah, that's all I got on that end, but I appreciate what you guys are doing for us and helping us along the way.
Awesome, Kyle. Appreciate your time today. Athletesformedicalfreedom.org. Check it out and grab some gear.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.